So my freshman year at WSU, first semester, didn't do so hot. I was living at the dorms, happy to be away, having my own freedom. Decided I'll skip a few classes here and there. I got into the habit of skipping almost every single one of my classes except for the ones that I had to show up for because attendance was required. There are some classes that if you miss more than a certain amount of times, like English, if you miss more than 6 times, you fail the class automatically. I wasn't too fond of my teachers. I ended up failing all of my classes. I decided that the dorm life was definitely not for me. At the end of the semester, I ended up with a really low GPA. I was going to lose my scholarship, and so I was going to go back home, go to Butler. Well, I was talking to Miss Cervantes, and she told me that I can write an appeal for my scholarship, tell them all the things that I was doing wrong and what I would do to change them, and they would more than likely grant me my scholarship for one more semester to try and prove myself. So I wrote a nicely worded letter, very professional, sent it to them, and they were more than happy to oblige and grant me one more semester, and if I did not meet their expectations, I would have to refund them the money that they had granted me for that second semester of college. So, moved back home, got my act together, went to class every day, might have missed a few here and there, but nowhere near as bad as what it was. I ended up with a 3.49 my second semester, and they were ecstatic about it and granted me a second scholarship for this year. And so here I am at WSU still, doing pretty well. I had to realize that once I'm on my own, I have to have more self-discipline. No one's going to make you do it but yourself. So you can't let yourself get the better of you. After that first semester, I decided I was going to start sitting in the front of all my classes. I wasn't going to be distracted in the back like I always was. Sat at the forefront, took notes, didn't mess with my phone in class, stayed on task, and it really does show an improvement.
You're gonna be poor as dirt. If you live at home, it'd be a little better. Scholarships are nice, but you're not guaranteed that's for everything, and that's just gonna cover your school stuff. That doesn't cover your social expenses or food. Last year I did 15 meals, and that was expensive, so I cut it down to 10 meals, which is cheaper, but I can only have like 10 meals on the campus like a week, so like I'll sometimes skip breakfast and just have lunch and dinner.
I was told to speak about like the transition between living at home and living on campus. When I moved to my on campus, I didn't know how to do like anything. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to wash my own clothes. A lot changes with you. Like when you move out of your parents' house, you're not like dependent on them for money. You're not dependent on them for like a lot of things, and so you kind of start to grow up on your own when you're away from them. So I strongly recommend living on campus. Like I actually learned how to wash my own clothes, and that was pretty crazy. I'm pretty proud of myself. Now it's kind of like, you know, whatever, like, oh, wash my clothes, you know, I'll do it. I also like got really efficient at washing dishes. Yeah, apparently there's a cool technique where you can like make them squeaky clean. No, by hand. We don't have dishwashers. My mom always cooked for me, and when I went to on campus, like I had to like buy my own food because I only get 1 meal a day from school. So I went back to my house and I was like, Mom, can you teach me how to cook? And so she taught me how to make chili already and spaghetti. I lived at home my first year at Friends, and I had to drive from home to school like every day, and I had to be at band at 8 in the morning, and I was late. Just so you're gonna get an idea, at the end of the year, I was missing 27 hours of time missed. Like, because if you miss, if you're late, you get counted off half a letter grade off your final grade, and if you're absent, you get counted off a whole letter grade. The first semester, every time I came to on campus, I would just find people and I'd hang out with them because like I didn't want to go back home. My grades dropped like below 2.0, and I lost a lot of my scholarships. And the guys at financial aid helped me out to come back the next year. It was kind of like a probation kind of thing, and when I lived on campus that year, the next year, My grades went back up because I was like, I barely talked to anybody. I was just in my room all the time studying and stuff. But now, like, I've learned to balance it. But yeah, it helped a lot being close to school and like the library. Oh, and in band, I've only been late once this semester.
Yeah, that just flow right into what I'm supposed to talk about, managing your time and balancing things. My scholarship, I have a football managing scholarship, and sounds easy, but it's not, because it takes up like 90% of my day. Last semester, my typical schedule would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I have class from 9, about 12:30, I'd be done with all my classes. Then I'd have to eat by 1. I have to finish eating by 1. Then I have to go to football practice, and then football practice wouldn't be done till like 5:30, and sometimes I'd have to skip dinner because I have to like do laundry, and so that take a lot of time because it's like a lot, like a whole roster of football players doing their laundry, and yeah, I'd be done with laundry like 8-ish, depends on what day I have to do it, and then after that I just have to study, or if I didn't have homework I'd just hang out. I stayed pretty busy, but it taught me how to manage my time. But I still had fun because I always made time to do that. Sometimes I would have fun overdoing my homework, but I got the consequences of either being lost in class the next day or just being behind and having to catch up on it when I did study again. It helps if you like just randomly study and look at your books or do your homework. Like when you're eating, just take your books to the cafeteria with you. If you're eating in your room, just look over stuff real quick. It's not easy, but when you get used to it, it gets easier because you have to make the time to study. And like you can go out, like we'll drive Wichita to get to the club on Thursday nights. Yeah, but you have to get up for the 8 a.m. class the next day. So if you know you're not going to get up for class, I would suggest you not to go.
That's a good question because like I got an 18 on my ACT and I thought I wasn't gonna get any money at all, but I still got like the school still looks at the university you're going to still looks at your GPA, and if you're like music or athletic or something, other scholarships.
Depending on how wordy the slide is, I write down most of what it says. If it's too wordy, I write down what's in bold or italicized or what they happen to write on the board if they do write on the board. Because if it's important for them to write it down, then it's important for you to write it down. Or if they keynote it and say that this may be something you'll see later on, put a star next to it in your notes or highlight it. That's what I do.
Usually if there's a PowerPoint, the teacher would hopefully, like sometimes, put the PowerPoint like on Blackboard where you can go to it before class and then print it out, and then you follow along with the teacher and write extra notes when you see something that's not on the PowerPoint.
Some teachers don't post it, so if you miss out, you miss out. Like so if you miss class and you miss those notes from the PowerPoint, then you have to get them from someone else, and like so that's another reason, a good thing to communicate with people, because you never know when you're gonna miss class.
Also, if you're like a faster typer than you are at handwriting, it's a good idea to bring your laptop to class because most teachers will let you use your laptop. Just don't get distracted on Facebook. It's a lot faster, and you can look up things that they're talking about. If you don't understand the word they just said, and it's like a topic like linear perspective in an art class, you just Google it. What the heck is that? And then like it shows like a bunch of things, and you're just like, oh, okay. So now you're back on track with what the teacher's saying.
Usually your school website will like have department scholarships, depending on what department you're in, and then there's like an application form to fill out.
Like if you play music, you can like audition, and they'll like give you money depending on how well you do in your audition. And I got most of like equally as much music scholarship as I did academic scholarship. So.
At my school, there's a general scholarship, and then there's separate scholarships. Like of course there's dance, cheer, and all the athletic scholarships. But there's also things like you're working, but you're also getting a scholarship. Like a residential assistant, they'll pay half of your dorms and your books and tuition. That's a scholarship. And then like there's also a scholarship for student ambassadors, like to give people the tours. The people who give tours, they get a scholarship for that. It's books and tuition.